Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while since I posted a video. I'll get into that, but I made myself some samyang noodles. I did record with my phone, like a little quick way of what I was doing, but I wanted to go ahead and start the video. And I wanted to tell you guys, I know I've been telling y'all that I'm trying to make a story time on how I found out I was pregnant in high school. I've said this story before in my live videos on TikTok when I used to go live. I've said it before, but there's a lot of people that are always asking me, want a story time, so I was like, let me just post a YouTube video. Mike was going to come out with me, but he's been working crazy hours, he's tired, and I don't want to keep holding back on this video. So I'm gonna tell you guys my side of the story, how it went down, feelings, and all that good stuff. But I have some cucumbers right here, and they're the mini ones. There's a seed. They're the mini ones, so I didn't chop them off. Chop them up. Whatever. I have sausages, egg, green onions, dumplings, or what are they called? I think they're called dumplings. Spicy noodles. But honestly, my plate is too much right now that I feel like I can't even eat. So I'm going to move some things away from my noodles. Also, these little sausages, they're so freaking good. Me and Bella, one of the twins, are obsessed with these. They're so good. But first, let's take a quick little bite. The sausage went on the wrong side. The sausage went on the wrong side. So probably I say the wrong hole. Okay, I went ahead and put the front piece of my hair back because it's gonna get in the way. But I think these are called dumplings. I'm not sure, but guys, this is so good. I won't finish it, but it's okay. It's still good. And then the sausage. Alright, I'm gonna get started. So, as most of you guys know, if you haven't seen the video how me and Mike met, go watch it. But go watch this video so you can understand the order, I guess, the sequence. But I got pregnant in high school 2019. I remember I used to work. When I was in high school, I used to work at a retail store. And it was September 2018. And my period was weird that month, which is I got my period twice that month, and that never happened to me, like literally never. But I just thought it was like normal, I guess, or like I was creeped out about it, but I was just like, maybe it's just normal or something, I don't know. So I forgot about it, I ignored it, and then the month of October came. I usually would always start my period in the beginning of the month, and I did not get my period. I was like, where's my period? I was like, oh, maybe I started in September. That's why I'm not starting in October. And it just seemed off to me, but time passed by. I started feeling weird, like if something wasn't right with me. And I would tell Mike, I feel weird, like something's not right with me. He's like, what do you mean? Like he wouldn't really pay as much attention, because I don't know, like we were in high school, we didn't really know. I didn't think I was pregnant, I just thought something was going on with me. I felt like I was sick or something. I was waiting for my period. I waited the whole maybe 3 weeks. I waited 3 weeks. I didn't get my period. On the app, like I had the Flow app. I don't know if it's true, if you guys believe it, but for me it's always been accurate. It has always been accurate for me, so I always trusted that app and everything. So I was 20 days late. I was 30 days late. I think the max I went was 31 days late. No, 35 days on my period when I found out I was pregnant. Anyways, on the Flow app it kept saying that I was 25 days late because I had waited that long. And I was like, man, why am I late? Why am I late? Why am I late? I would take pregnancy tests until one day I was like, let me take a pregnancy test just in case, you know, just in case I am pregnant. I need to know. So I took a pregnancy test. It was negative, like negative. I broke the yolk. Test was negative. I was like, okay, it's just in my head. I told Mike again, Mike bought me pregnancy test after pregnancy test after pregnancy test. they were always negative, like always. So maybe in the beginning of November, I didn't tell Mike no more because I thought I was just going crazy. I didn't want him to think that I'm just wasting like his money at the time, because he worked at Home Depot. I was like, I don't want him to think that, you know, like I'm just being crazy, or just, I don't know. So I stopped telling him that my period was late, or like bugging him about how I was feeling. I just stopped, and I just started worrying about it myself, because I didn't want to sound crazy, you know, to him or to anyone. November 1st or 2nd, it's crazy how I remember the dates. Me and Mike always talk about it. He's like, dang, you remember the dates? I'm like, it's the time that you don't forget. Like, especially for me, I did not forget that, because I couldn't believe that I was pregnant. Anyways, because like November 1st, 2nd, I went to work and I started spotting, like I was spotting blood, and I thought it was my period. I remember at work I was like, yes, I got my period, like, oh, thank you Jesus, I got my period. The next day there was nothing. Like, I put a pad on, there was nothing, guys, like nothing on my pad, absolutely nothing. And I was like, what the hell? Like, but I was just spotting yesterday. I forgot about it. I was like, okay, maybe I'm tripping, maybe it's a light period or something, right? Which never happens to me. So I just let it go. I just forgot about it, and I still kept taking more pregnancy tests, and it was negative until like November 4th came. And November 4th or 5th, I remember, I was at work. It was a Sunday. I started bleeding, guys, like a lot. It didn't even feel normal to bleed. Like, I don't even bleed like that on my period. And it just felt really weird, uncomfortable. I was scared. I was like, what if I was having a miscarriage and I didn't know? Like, I was just not taking care of myself, and you know, just little thoughts, like the worst thoughts came through my head at the time. I remember being so freaking terrified and scared, and texting Mike like, hey, this just happened. And I'm like, I was terrified, he was terrified. He ended up telling his mom what was going on, and his mom was like, no, we're making her an appointment, because what if she was pregnant and she's having a miscarriage? What if she needs medical procedures? Like, what if it gets worse for her or something like that? And we made an appointment to a clinic, and I remember we were going and we were like, there's no way I'm pregnant. Like, there's just no way I'm pregnant. I remember I was telling Mike, you either gave me like an STD, you either cheated on me, you did something to me. I don't know what happened, but this doesn't happen. I already took a pregnancy test this morning, it's negative. Like, what's going on? He's like, really? Like, I remember we were just so much in shock that we didn't know what was going on with me, that we were just like pointing fingers back and forth. It was just crazy. And we go to the clinic, we're waiting in the waiting room, and they call me in, and I do a urine test, like a regular pregnancy test. I remember waiting like 15 minutes maybe till they came into the room. 15 to 10 minutes, I'm probably exaggerating. Until they came in the room for my results. And then the doctor came in and she was like, hey, has anyone given you your urine results? And I was like, no. She's like, well, your test came back positive, you're pregnant. My jaw like literally just like dropped to the floor. I was like, what? And she's like, you're pregnant. Based on your last period, you're like 8 weeks pregnant. I was like 2 months pregnant, and I was like 2 months pregnant. I'm like, I've been taking pregnancy tests and they all come out negative until today. And then the doctor was like, well, we want to make sure we do an ultrasound to confirm that you're still pregnant because of the bleeding that you had. I think it was like 3 days ago prior to the doctor's appointment. So I was like, okay. We left the doctor's appointment. I remember my mother-in-law knowing, like, she was just in shock too, and we were just all in shock. And me and Mike didn't know how to react. Like, we didn't believe it. I remember I texted him, because he wasn't in the room with me. I texted him, hey, I'm pregnant. And he's like, you're lying, because he was in the waiting room. I think I said that already, but he was in the waiting room and I was inside. I was like, no, I'm pregnant. And he didn't text back after that because I walked out. And he was we just looked at each other and we just kind of like smiled. Like, we didn't know how to react. We were in shock. We walk outside and my mother-in-law tells my husband, Mike, you better tell your dad because I'm not going to tell him. He's like, yes, I know, Mom, I know. And then she drove in a separate car. Me and Mike got in his car, and then we look at each other and we bust out laughing, guys. Like, we just start laughing and we're like, what the, like, this is crazy. Just like joking around like high school kids, you know. And it didn't kick in. I got home, I couldn't even look at my mom in the eyes. I remember, I'm just kidding, guys. I felt like I betrayed her, and I just felt horrible. So I kept it to myself. And then we made an appointment again for an ultrasound to make sure that I was still pregnant. And that's the juicy part. Sorry guys, I gotta enjoy my food too. So then November 12th came, and that's when I got my ultrasound. Oh, that's when I got my ultrasound appointment. We went to the same clinic. This time it was just me and Mike. And we went and they did the vaginal ultrasound. I don't know what that one's called. It wasn't far along to do the stomach one. And as soon as like they did the ultrasound, all you see is just like a small little dot. Mike has a picture, I think, in his wallet. A small tiny dot, guys. You can't even, like, you wouldn't even know that I was pregnant. And I was like, where's the baby? Like, I was terrified. I'm like, oh my god, I lost the baby. What is that? Like, I don't even know what that was. And she was like, well, based on your HCG levels and on your ultrasound, you're still pregnant. You're 4 weeks pregnant. And I was like, 4 weeks? The doctor said I was 8 weeks pregnant. I didn't know, guys, at the time that it goes like how it goes or what. She's like, and then she explained it to me. So basically I ovulated late, so I got pregnant late. That's why all my pregnancy tests will come out negative, like all of them. It was too soon for me to find out, but I knew I was pregnant from the moment I got pregnant, if that makes sense, because I had started having symptoms too soon, like way too soon. Maybe after I even, like, what is it called, conception or whatever, I started having like symptoms, which that's crazy to me. And she explained it to me, she told me, so I was like, no wonder I wasn't getting positive results, you know. I thought I was going crazy. So they confirmed my pregnancy. So, and it was just one baby, like you couldn't even see a baby. It was just like a little circle, guys, like a little tiny circle. So I was like, okay, like now I gotta tell my mom, like. Don't judge me. So November 12th came by, and I told my mom the same day. I remember Mike and I skipped school for that doctor's appointment. That day comes by, I go up to my mom. I'm practicing in the mirror. I don't know how to tell her. Like, I'm just like terrified to tell her. And I go up to her and I'm like, Mom. She's like, ¿Qué pasó, Paola? Because my middle name is Paola. And I was like, I need to tell you something. And she's like, ¿Estás embarazada? Like, you're pregnant. And I'm like, yes. And she's like, hi, Paola, why? How many times did I talk to you? I didn't want you to do that, and blah, 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 and this and that. It broke my heart. Like, it really, really did, guys. And prior to those days, like before, my parents would joke around because I have a nephew. My nephew was so attached to me and Mike. Every time he would go over, like, he didn't want him to leave. And I was like, ¿No vas a salir con tu domingo 7, Paola? And I'm like, no, Mom. Like, what? You're crazy, okay? Little did she know she was right. But so yeah, she's like, and I'm not gonna tell your dad. You better tell your dad. And telling my dad, like, I love my mom, but telling my dad was a whole different story. Like, I love my dad, you know, and it was just very hard to I was his little girl. Like, I'm his little girl, you know. It really scared me to tell him that I was pregnant. Excuse me. So my dad did wait maybe like 3 days, 4 days to tell him, until I did tell him. But I remember this one was not funny, but like, guys, I was doing Sharpay in the room. I was literally practicing how to tell my dad. I was like, oh, like, how do I tell him? I will repeat the words and the sentences over and over again. And like I really practiced to tell him. And when I went up to him, and I messed up on this part, I would always say, why couldn't you just wait? He was like this, guys. He was eating. I don't remember what he was eating, but he was eating food, but he was like that eating. And then I just sat next to him. I was like, pa. He's like, ¿qué pasó? I'm like, te tengo que decir algo. He's like, ¿qué? Like he even like had his fork waiting here. Let me tell you something. He's like, ¿qué pasó, Paola? What happened? And then I just start crying. I start bawling my eyes out. Like I don't even want to tell him. I just start crying. I just start crying, and then he's like, ¿qué pasó, Paula? Like what happened? And I'm like, I'm pregnant. And he's like this. Like he drops his face drops, his fork stops moving. I'm just crying, bawling my eyes out, and I just hear him put the fork down. He gets up and he hugs me. He's like, todo va a estar bien, like, you know, like it's gonna be okay. And I'm just crying and crying. And then he lets go of me. He stands across from me, like across from where I was sitting, and now he looks at me. He's like, ¿por qué, Paola? Like, why? I talked to you so many times. Why? And I even talked to Mike. I told him to not ever think about doing that and blah blah blah. Guys, like it broke my heart, but my dad talked to me in a normal toned voice, which I knew he was heartbroken. Like I knew he was serious, because my dad's more like, he'll talk to you normal. He won't scream and get after you. He's more like, okay, well, let's talk. But the way he was talking to me, like, it was so hurtful and so painful. And time passed by. I mean, I don't want to share how Mike told his parents, because that's his way of telling his parents. So maybe he can do a video on that. We can do another video on that. But I remember his parents, or his dad was also upset. And I remember it was just crazy. My dad didn't talk to Mike for like 2 weeks. Which might not seem a lot, but it felt like forever. My dad was really hurt. Yeah, I ended up being pregnant my senior year of high school. And then I was just always locked up in my room. I just felt sad. I didn't even want to go to school. Oh, and my symptoms were sore boobs, cramps, bloated. Like I had to unbuckle my jeans all the time, even at school. I would just wear like a rubber band and a big shirt. Excuse me. And like in a bigger shirt so people wouldn't see it, because I was bloated. Oh, and I was obsessed with Maruchanes, guys. Like literally obsessed with Maruchan. Big time. Matter of time, Thanksgiving passed, December came. It was December 7th, 2018 still. I went to my first OBGYN appointment. I remember going. I was so excited to see like my baby and this and that, and I want to see how far along I was for real and all that good stuff. And I went to my OBGYN appointment. They also did the vaginal one. As soon as he inserted like the ultrasound, I saw 2 babies. Literally, like the screen was in front of me. I saw 2 babies, and I was like, is that twins? Right away. Like I didn't even let the doctor speak. I told him, is that twins? And he was like, oh, congratulations. And Mike was just like zoned off. He's never said, well, he said he's never experienced anything like that. So he was just focused on what he was doing to me. Like he was like, let me see what's going on down there. So he wasn't even paying attention to me. He was just paying attention to what he was doing and inserting inside of me. The train. I started crying. Like it happened so fast. I started crying, and Mike was like, babe, why are you crying? And I was like, we're having twins. He's like, what? I'm like, look. Like he didn't even know there was a screen up there. And he looks up, he's like, what the? And I'm like, yes, we're having twins. And he was like froze. Like he froze. He didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to say. I was in shock, and my mom was there with me. She's like, te dije, I told you were gonna have twins. Because she did. She told me I was gonna have twins. I kept saying I was gonna have twins because I'm a twin. I'm a fraternal twin. Which I know identical twins is just accidental, and fraternal twins is a gene or something like that. I know, mom, skip the generation. Blah, blah. The last appointment, it was just 1 bag, like 1 little sack. Remember the little dot I told you guys I saw? That's what I was going based off. I always thought either if twins are identical, they're in 1 bag, or they're in 2 bags. But I was just never thought I would have twins. I always said I wanted twins, but I never thought I would have twins. and twins don't run in Mike's family. But I remember when we were in high school, I would tell him, oh, I want twins in the future, and he would tell me, babe, the more you want it, the more you're not gonna get it. Like, you know, people that like, it's really hard to just want twins and just magically get it. And I was like, yeah, I know. Little did he know, I got my twins. Like, I remember he called his mom, he called his dad, and they were like, what the hell, like, that's crazy, but you know, it's a blessing. And they were all excited, and my family got excited. I already had a nephew at the time, so we were all team girl. I had a feeling they were girls from the beginning. Honestly, I started even buying girl clothes. Like, I bought 2 outfits of girl clothes because I just felt like they were girls. What was I gonna say? Oh, I was still in high school, and I was still going to finish high school. Well, like, I finished high school. Let me explain my story. I was still in high school. It was my senior year. We were supposed to graduate. Like, oh, I can still finish school. I'll still walk, come to class every day. I can do it. You know, I remember being a freshman and I saw like young girls have babies and they were able to do it. Like, I can do it, you know, like they still finished school, they still did it. I know a lot of girls who even like succeeded and they have their college degrees and all that good stuff. So I was always like, I can do it too, you know, I can finish. But whenever I found out it was 2 guys, I was like, oh no, like I need to graduate early, like ASAP. I'm gonna be huge. How am I going to continue my pregnancy? It's like, I can't finish school, like I just can't. I had to graduate early, and when I was in high school, I was doing college classes at the same time. So I was doing like the dual credit. So I had college classes and I had extra credits that I didn't really need. I just always had extra credits. So I remember I talked to my counselor and I told her, she knew I was pregnant at first. I told her it was twins and she understood. Okay, you can graduate early. Because at first she didn't want me to. At first she was still like encouraging me to finish school and all that. Well, like I finished, but like graduating with my class, still attending school. But when she found out I was having twins, she agreed. She's like, okay, let's get you graduating early. I was like, okay, thank God. I didn't even tell Mike to do it. I didn't tell Mike to do nothing. It was his idea. He saw that I was doing it, so he's like, let me do it. He saw that I was doing it, so he's like, let me do it. And the counselors, everyone knew, and their mama, that he was my baby daddy. Just kidding, guys. But like teachers knew, like the counselor knew, because we had the same counselor, that he was my baby daddy. They approved him too, so we both graduated early. He did walk with his class. I didn't want to walk with my class because I was huge. Like, I had swollen feet. Pregnancy was not cute for me personally. We moved in together like around March, and let me say, guys, it was not easy. Like I would always say, it was not easy. If you knew us then, you don't know us now. And I would always say that because we went through a lot of hard times to be where we are now. We were young, we didn't know how to be parents, we didn't know how to. So he was raised a different way and I was raised a different way, and we didn't know how to combine both both how do I say it? We both didn't know how we wanted our family to be raised, or, you know, compromise or this and that. And then we just couldn't believe it that we were parents so young. We couldn't go to prom. We just missed out on so much, and I think it took a toll on both of us. Even though I know it was our fault, like our responsibility and everything, but it was just hard on us at first. Being teen parents was not easy for us at all. It was definitely a challenge, but I'm so thankful where we are at now, because I love my babies. I love Mike so much, and I know he loves me, and it's just happily ever after. I'm trying to think if I forgot anything, which I don't. Oh, I didn't tell you my gender reveal. It was nothing like big, but I remember I did the blood work. One of my sister's best friends did the gender reveal for us, and we found out it was girl. It was team healthy baby. But guys want like their boy first because this and that. So Mike thought it was gonna be boys, but no, they were actually girls. They're identical twins, different placenta, but same, no, different bags but same placenta. So identical twins, same placenta but different bags. My girls are going through a stage where they're fighting so much. And I don't even know. Oh, I think I spit. I don't even know what to do sometimes. Like, oh, like they fight over a spoon. They fight over not having the same socks, or you have my socks on, I want those socks. Like, so bad. Why I match them is because they want to. Yes, at first I started matching them because they're twins, you know. And then I was like, oh, this is too expensive. So I started buying different socks, different jeans, different PJs. They didn't like it. They would throw a fit. They wanted to match. So I'm like, hey, as long as they want to match, I'm cool with it. Until they tell me, Mom, I don't want to match anymore, then all right, you know, like, I understand. You want to be you. Okay, let's change it up. People love each other and they are sweet sometimes, but they are going through a very, very fighting, mean to each other stage. So I thought this was going to be too much for me. My stomach hurts. Yeah, that's basically how I found out I was pregnant. If I was all over the place, I'm sorry. This was almost 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago. Well, 5, because I found out, yeah, almost 5 years ago. So, right, whatever. It was a while ago, so my mind's all over the place. Teen mom, if you're a mom, I don't think anyone's ever ready to be a mom, but just know everything will always be okay. Don't be terrified. You'll learn as you go, as long as you have someone there that supports you. And or if you don't have someone, then it's okay, girl. You got yourself. You don't need anyone. You can do this. It's not gonna be easy, but just keep pushing and keep trying and keep chasing your dreams, because no baby stops you from nothing. Like, it doesn't. I remember when the girls were born, Mike had to go to work. Obviously, we had moved into his dad's, and it was just his dad and Mike and me. So I was like, oh crap, I'm on my own. Like, I do this. I took care of 2 girls by myself, guys. I mean, I'm not saying Mike wasn't helping me. Obviously, when he got off of work, he'll help me, but during the day I would literally feed one baby here and then the other one here, and I would just hold it with my chin. Like, I would hold the bottles with my chin, and I don't even know how. But my girls were great babies. I never really struggled. If they cried, it's because there's something wrong, but they hardly ever cried. I remember sleepless nights the first 2 months. After that, it got easy. My girls would sleep 12 hours. Even till now, guys, they went to sleep at 8:30 and it's 11, and then they wake up at 8 for school. So they sleep for 12 hours. So they're good sleepers. Guys, I love y'all so much. Literally, thank you for all the sweet messages daily or comments or anything. I love you all, and literally I never take y'all support for granted. Just know that I love y'all. Have a good day, night, evening, morning, whatever time it is when you're watching this. Have a good day. Bye.